I'm going to show you how to solve a quadratic by factoring, broken down into steps. Now, this will only work if all the numbers are positive and the leading number is a 1. Now, I can see that you don't see a 1 there, but there's an unseen 1, meaning I have 1x squared here. So I'm going to solve x squared plus 7x plus 12 is equal to 0. Step 1, organize. Okay, to get organized, I'm going to make sure I've got lots of space here. And beneath my quadratic, I'm going to put in 2 brackets with plenty of space in there, multiplied by each other, and make that equal to 0. I'm also going to draw a line, and this is going to give me some space for my rough work to figure out the factors. Also, there will be an x at the beginning of each bracket. No matter what these numbers are, you can start out like this, as long as you have x squared with no number written in front of it. So why don't you press pause and organize your sheet like this. Okay, step 2, list factors. Okay, I'm now going to list the factors of this last number here. I've got a 12 all by itself. I'm going to write that up here, and I'm going to put an X below it to remind me that I'm looking for pairs of numbers that multiply to give me 12. If you have a times table, you should have a times table handy. And anywhere that you find the number 12, the numbers at the sides are the factors. So my factors of 12 are 2 times 6, 3 times 4, you see that? 4 times 3 is 12, 2 times 6 is 12, again 4 times 3, and 2 times 6. In addition to that, 12 times 1 is also 12. So step 2, I'm going to list all those factors out below here. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4, and if I keep going, I'm going to see them repeat. 4 times 3, 6 times 2, and 12 times 1. Those are all the pairs of numbers I find in a times table that give me a 12. Now, I made this table big so you could see it. If you have a larger multiplication table, you'd find the 12 times 1 over here and way up there. So if you're working along using a different problem, I suggest you press pause and make sure you complete step 2. So remember, step 1, organize. We put brackets in underneath here, and we created some space for finding our factors. Step 2, we listed the factors. So I took the last number and wrote it up here, and then you find every pair of number that multiplies together to give you that number. Now go ahead and press pause until you've completed the second step. And now it's time for our third step. The third step is we've got to select a pair. Now here's how we do that. Our third step is to select a pair. We need to pick one of these pairs of numbers. That is, we got to pick 2 numbers and we're going to place them here. Here's how we pick them. We need a pair of numbers that add up to give us the 7. So write that over here. We need to add to 7. That's the number that's multiplied by x. I need a pair of numbers here that add up to that number. 1 plus 12 is 13. 6 plus 2 is 8. 3 plus 4 is 7. That's the one there. It would also work if you did this one. 4 plus 3 is 7. So these are the numbers that add to give 7, and at the same time they multiply to give 12. Now that I've selected that pair of numbers, I'm going to write them in. Remember, my numbers are 3 and 4. I'm going to write them here and here. So to recap, the first thing you want to do when you have a quadratic to solve is you want to organize. Put a pair of brackets underneath it and give yourself some space to work with the numbers. Second thing you want to do is list factors. Now make sure you pick the correct number out of these two. You want to list factors of that last number there. Take the last number, write it at the top, and list every pair of numbers that multiply together to give you that number. You can look in your table, find every instance of that number, and list the pairs that go with it. Step 3, select a pair. So you're going to find the pair of numbers that add up to give you the middle number. That's how you select them. Okay, now for step 4. We're going to separate. We're now going to separate these factors with a line. Draw a line straight down, and I like to write the word or. The word or means it could be whatever I put here or whatever I put there. You don't want to use the word and because they can't both be true at once. It's either our solution is this or that. On either side of or, I'm going to write the left factor, whatever's in the left bracket, x plus 3 is equal to 0, or x plus 4 is equal to 0. This is going to help me find my two valid answers. So right below your brackets, you should always draw a line, write or on top, and separate the two factors, make each of them equal to 0. Okay, so press pause and finish separating the two from the one you're working on. Maybe you're working on a different one from this one. And finally, our last step, solve. Now this is the easiest step. Over here, x plus 3 is equal to 0. I will subtract 3 from both sides. I'm going to subtract the 3 here and there. 3 minus 3 is 0, so it's gone. So x is simply negative 3. Or, I'm going to do it here. Subtract 4 from both sides. So it's gone on this side, and I've got a negative 4 there. I now have my two valid answers for this quadratic. Either x is negative 3 or x is negative 4. Here's how I know they work. If you put a negative 3 in here, negative 3 squared is 9. 9 plus 12 is 21. 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. So I have 21 minus 21, it's equal to 0. Same thing will work with 4. I'm going to run through these steps again with one more example. I'll do it a little faster this time, but just to recap that these steps are going to work for anything that's factorable. Okay, so I've got x squared plus 10x plus 25 is equal to 0. I'm going to organize. I'm going to draw my brackets underneath, make them equal to 0, and give myself some space over here. I'll put an x at the beginning of each bracket as well. Step 2, I'm going to list factors of that last number. I want numbers that multiply to give me 25. The only numbers that come to mind are 1 times 25 and 5 times 5. I'm now going to select a pair of them. 1 plus 25 is equal to 26. Remember, I want to add to 10. 1 plus 25 is 26, so that's no good. 5 plus 5 is 10. That's going to work. So I have plus 5 and plus 5. I've selected a pair, now I'm going to separate. So I'm going to draw a line here, write the word or. X plus 5 equals 0, or x plus 5 equals 0. And then I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So x is minus 5, and my other valid answer is the same answer, x is minus 5.